BTC Macro, welcome back to the channel, man. And this is the first of our Sunday weeklies, right? This is kind of I think we're gonna use these sessions to see how the week's been, and maybe just help our viewers prepare for what's to come. I think that's how we're gonna do it, right?
Yep, that's
Yeah,
right. And I quite like our structure. I think it's going to be quite helpful for people
yeah.
to maybe like get some bits from like news, the charts and everything.
Mm.
Because, you know, crypto markets are 24/7, but it's kind of good to know, maybe because Monday is usually a bit more important than, let's say, the weekend.
Yeah.
Because, for example, the CME is closed, usually traders take a break, markets are more quiet. So it usually gives us a good feeling of where we might be going in the next few days.
That sounds good. So, I mean, I think today what we're going to cover, we'll cover some BTC. Let's see how Bitcoin's performing. Let's definitely talk
Yep,
about Ethereum and CME because that's tomorrow, right? CME,
yep,
Ethereum,
exactly.
Ethereum will listen on CME Futures tomorrow. So that's a big one. I think one of the interesting things have been this week, well, actually this week and many weeks actually, is Ethereum fees. I mean, it's stupid. Okay, it's making it unusable, especially if you're going in small and the fees are like almost half of what you're trading, especially when it comes to Uniswap. And also, today I noticed, certainly there was a fair bit of red in all my portfolio. So it does feel like maybe DeFi is also having a correction or had a bit of a correction. But let's kick off with Bitcoin. What can you share BTC Macro with us today?
Well, Bitcoin right now is a bit of it's actually sitting at support. Well, because we had the resistance, and we had like a decent breakout, but we had the move during the weekend. We had the big rise. We got to the top of near the all-time high actually, and pulled back, which was kind of normal. Like I didn't really expect a big breakout during the weekend because usually these movements don't really tend to last. We usually have to have like a very few longs. It has to be like not much speculation going on for us to have a big gap and break out. So we kind of quickly pulled back to where we started. CME hasn't opened yet, like traditional markets are not open yet. So we're just looking at Bitcoin sit at a combination of diagonal and horizontal. And in my opinion, it's just going to go higher because look, usually when we retest a top, double tops don't really last for a very long time. We
Mm-hmm.
usually tend to break them and go higher. At the same time, I did have some worries a few days ago, maybe a few weeks ago, I should say, around the 25th, because you started breaking support, didn't look good, but then all the stuff with Wall Street bets, Elon Musk, and
Yeah.
all this stuff like gave a big increase. DeFi was already doing well. And from what I see right now, as long as we just keep on holding 35,000, I think we're going to do well. If we break here, that's fine. I don't like right now. I would say just don't trade, just don't buy or sell, because the opportunity was here. Like I had said in the CryptoCube group, it was 38,000
Yeah.
to like down this point. So, right now we're just like kind of trapped, to be honest. If we start breaking higher, like maybe we do something like this, then I would say that this would be a good trade. Go up, then come back down to 38.5 and then higher. That's my view on Bitcoin.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's what's going because I was looking yesterday, and it was like you got it on the chart anyway. It was rallying up. I think it even hit 40K. I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? Because then I started noticing, majority of the market just kind of everything from Ethereum and downwards started slightly pulling back as well. And I thought, is
Yeah.
this where people are now, cashing out of vaults and getting ready for another Bitcoin rally?
Yeah, it was kind of like that, to be honest, because when Bitcoin started rallying and it got a bit higher, I can't remember, I think it was this candle right here or something. And the minute it started pulling back, like probably was this candle
Hmm.
right here, which is kind of odd. Like it was just a tiny candle but like just this mini correction from Bitcoin just gave a really big reaction from altcoins because they were already overheated.
Yeah.
And we can just check Ethereum first. And like you said, we've got CME coming tomorrow, which also is playing a quite important
Yeah.
role, because we usually, when we have a big event coming, the market tends to rally to the event if it's a bullish one, or maybe drop if it's a bearish one. And then, that's usually when the market tops. But it usually happens like a few days ago. Many people, probably kind of myself included, thought we had some more upside before we would top. I thought Bitcoin would be a bit more quiet, but once Bitcoin started getting more volatile, alts kind of felt the heat and just dropped. And at the same time, look, many people have bad memories from CME launching the future, the Bitcoin
And this is
futures.
what exactly. And I was about to say this, right? Because when I recall when we had the Bitcoin CME futures being listed, it wasn't doing so well for Bitcoin, but we were in a bear market as well at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it was actually that that was the exact time that the bear market started. So it wasn't like we were exactly in a bear market, because look, alt season actually continued for a month.
Yeah.
For alts, it was just the Bitcoin top, because look, everyone was speculating that all the institutions are coming, and that was the narrative. But then the Bitcoin had gone up so much, and then people started cashing out of Bitcoin to get into altcoins, and that's why Bitcoin dropped. That was essentially what was going on. So it wasn't the fact that CME actually it was them doing something shady and making the market up, because the volume of the futures was quite low anyways. But it was just the combination of like people being so excited and so over leveraged to that event, because they just thought that the minute futures open, everyone was going to start longing futures, because actually back then institutions didn't really have the access they have now. So it just felt really bullish to some people, but it had gone up so much that it was just normal for us to top. For Ethereum right now, I think that's a pretty big like the picture is very different, because Ethereum just broke its previous all-time high.
Yeah.
After retesting it actually several times, like 1,420 or 440 was the all-time high going back to 2018. So right now, after so many tests, like I just can't really think that that was just the rally that would make Ethereum top and make it roll over for good. Like it just seems like it would be a very odd scenario for me. Up until tomorrow, I can see us dumping to this area, which in my opinion, like if we get to maybe 1,440 or even 1,350, that's probably the lowest I suppose we would get.
I was thinking that as well, because I can even see it on your charts where it's retested it at least 3 times, where it's been rejected off the shorter green resistance that you've got there. And if I was a betting man and looking to just get in, whether it's a scalp or whatever it may well be, and I think this would be a good entry point actually. And I plan to have a few there. I have a bit on the side, not necessarily to hold. This is just more playing the market every now and then. Like we said in one of our previous training sessions, right? It's patience. Patience is the key, right? Let the market come to you and don't go chasing the hype more than anything else. And even just by looking at the chart, it does feel like to me that there needs to be another retest, certainly into that region.
Yeah, look, Bitcoin actually didn't have a pullback back then, like back at 20K this year. So it essentially just broke out and never came back. But for Ethereum right now, we sort of kind of have a catalyst that could help us go down to that point, because we get just the sell the news event. Maybe people just panic a bit. Maybe, it was just the market being overheated anyways. Maybe it's a combination of the fees, which is the last thing we're going to talk about. But right now, we're just like in a mini downtrend. Okay. Like I'm not saying go short here, like, because I think overall we're in a bull market. So I would recommend everyone to stop thinking about shorting, especially if you're a newer trader,
Mm.
like you don't really want to just be messing around with all these things. Like the upside is pretty much unlimited, whereas the downside is fairly limited. So just be patient, keep your spot exposure. Like if you have like some Ethereum, just maybe you want to buy some on margin, some on
Yeah.
leverage, because maybe it doesn't, like maybe it does this, it does this afterwards, come back up to here, and then maybe does this before going higher. So I think that this is just going to give a pretty good reaction. Maybe your stop loss could be below here. Like you could just buy a pretty decent position, maybe risk 1 or 2%, something like this, like maybe do something like that. And you could even like just set the stop loss here. Like I think this is going to be a tough one to crack.
Yeah.
If you think it's going to be weak,
Yeah.
just sell it.
I'm gonna say my head was in the way when you were showcasing that, but it's fine. Next time I'll take my big head out of the way.
That's good. That's fine.
No, that's look. Yeah, what's
Yeah.
I was gonna say the other piece here, right, is once again for this week, as in I'm not expecting anything massive, but like you said before, right? Wait for it to come to you. Be patient, but and it depends, because for me, I'm not a massive trader myself, right? I have a stack of Ethereum which I keep to one side because I'm bullish on Ethereum long term. There's no doubt that we're gonna break $2,000 this month easily. Okay, that's I'm gonna say it right here. We still got another 20 days left in February, but I'm almost certain that we will break $2,000. The market sentiment, just the positivity, the fact that we're in a bull market, all of that around it just kind of rallies behind that price action, in my opinion. And I'm sure we're going to go higher this year than 2,000 as well.
Yeah, look, I agree. I'm not gonna lie. In general, I see Ethereum like has a lot of issues, but that's to me that's irrelevant to where I think the price is going. We saw that with Bitcoin in 2017, like the fees were really high, and I think it's reasonable. I think Bitcoin actually needs high fees to function because the supply is going to run out, and miners will need to get something, and without having a decent amount of fees, they will not be making enough to keep running
Yeah,
the
exactly.
mining
It wouldn't
machines.
be
Yeah,
profitable. I mean, and I
yeah.
know when we were talking offline once, and not all the viewers know, but when I started off in crypto many years ago, I started off with ASIC miners. That's what I had, and that the equipment isn't cheap, and secondly, that equipment gets outdated quite quickly as well. So that's the thing as well. You need to be churning through a lot, and a higher price action on Bitcoin also then means when they sell, they get to sell high, and then they get to then reinvest that money into more miners in order to continue supporting the network.
Exactly, and that's exactly what we need. So look, it's for Bitcoin is what you pay is what you get. Like
Yeah.
the value you get from Bitcoin and from actually using it, maybe for something that you probably couldn't actually do. And I'm not talking about nefarious things or something like that,
Yeah, yeah.
but actually just sending a large payment across the world like instantly. That's for some people that's like priceless, and
Yeah.
in order to do it, it would take them days, maybe it would be impossible. There are all these things, but the difference with Ethereum though is that it relies on on DeFi. Like DeFi relies on Ethereum,
Yeah.
so that's why we probably got a bit of a top, because things got quite frothy. Markets went quite high actually, but at the same time there is a bottleneck on Ethereum, and everything is built on Ethereum, and those high fees probably made some people realize that there are some issues, and probably that contributed to the selling. And one narrative I've been quite a big fan of, at least right now, like it doesn't mean I've sold all my Ethereum or that I'm like not bullish at all, but I'm like, as a trader at least, I was waiting for this for quite some time, because to me, the same way we had all the Bitcoin killers in 2017 because of the high fees, right now we have the Ethereum killers in 2021 because look, fees are high, so people eventually will have to migrate. Some use cases, especially ones that don't really require decentralization, like there are so many things on Ethereum that are on Ethereum because of ease of use and liquidity, but because many people can buy the token, etc. It's easier, but at the same time, when fees are so high, they just need another option. Like they need to do something else because otherwise they just can't keep on using Ethereum, which means that regardless of whether these other platforms are good or not, people are gonna buy them. And we've already seen stuff rallying like Cardano,
Yeah.
um, Elrond, Avalanche. Like we've seen so many rallies on that sector, and at the same time, I just feel like there is a bit of a rotation. People will take some profits from DeFi and Ethereum and put it in those other platforms, and because XRP is also gone, essentially, a lot of that money now focuses on very few chains because look, Tron, EOS, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin are pretty much dead right now. Eventually they will pump, but now the focus probably is on newer smart contract platforms like maybe Near, Cardano, like I said, all these ones. So I don't know for how long that rally lasts. I don't know if it's just a temporary bounce, but it's something to watch. Plus another narrative after layer ones, like all those, maybe Cosmos as well. It's stuff like Matic, Loopring, Omg, and
Yeah.
all this stuff, that all those layer two technologies on Ethereum could also benefit from the congestion on the Ethereum network.
Yeah, no, this is the thing, right? I mean, as I was saying before, the fees are just it's it's insane. It's annoying, right? I was speaking to somebody in the Telegram community the other day, and I said, look, all I wanted to do was buy $200 worth of whatever token it was at the time, and I kind of went through, and then the transaction fees came to like $41. I was like, I'm spending $41 transaction fee just to get $200 of something, which means that something has to go up a fair bit more for me to want to then sell back out again, because ultimately I'm going to be end up spending like almost $90 by the time I get around to doing any of it. How much upside. So this needs addressing, but you're right. Matic, Loopring. This is where I think also that we'll start seeing an uptrend in price action on those platforms.
Exactly. And look, I might be wrong. And by the way, we don't even know whether Ethereum or Bitcoin are gonna continue up. So that's also up in the air. I think they're gonna go higher, but with trading, we just never know. But at the end of the day, I think people should be paying attention to all the narratives. I'm not discarding DeFi. I'm not discarding NFTs. I'm not saying all this stuff are out the window. Eventually, these issues will be addressed. But with Ethereum, I think the main problem right now is that Ethereum 2.0, the actual final product,
Yeah.
is quite far away.
Yeah.
But the problem is that Ethereum has been so successful so early, and it hasn't been in terms of adoption, but actually the product hasn't been able to keep up. So I think the price will appreciate because of the brand and all that stuff, but it might be underperforming other platforms, which in my opinion, longer term, maybe Ethereum is going to be the winner. I cannot, like, it's not, it's very early for me to say anything with certainty. And again, I'm not saying that Texas, for example, will not do well, but it might be a combination of Texas already being up quite
Yeah.
substantially, like, Uniswap and SushiSwap have had a tremendous rallies. Like, it's not that they are topping like in the middle of the nowhere, like they just had a mini pump. They were up like 5, 10, 20, 30x in just a span of a
Yeah.
few months.
Yeah.
So it isn't abnormal. So I wouldn't just blame it on the fees, because look, at the end of the day, people are buying stuff because other people are buying them. We've seen really useless tokens like scams and all that stuff pump through all these years. So I just don't feel like it's a great it's a great narrative for a top. Like, the market is getting smarter, don't get me wrong. Like, I even expected that maybe Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash would have pumped by now because of their names, because of
Yeah.
PayPal. but it looks like the market actually is getting smarter. So, maybe the game is getting harder. Maybe people just say, you know what, I'll just prefer to buy something new. Maybe I'll prefer to buy the new Ethereum. Maybe I'll prefer to buy the new hot thing because Ethereum is underperforming.
Yeah.
So that might be a bit of a drag to Ethereum, actually. Like in my opinion, Ethereum should have performed better by now. I think my targets were actually 15-20% higher from here. So it's already kind of not done as well as I thought it would. But again, I think it's kind of a victim of its own
But
success.
the other thing you can't deny, right, is that Ethereum 2.0, when the beacon chain launched, there had to be, and I forgot exactly how much Ethereum had to be locked in before it could launch. So there's all this Ethereum locked until Ethereum 2.0 launches, and that is still what makes me bullish on Ethereum. The fact that so much liquidity has been locked away and no one has access to that that's being staked on the beacon chain at the moment. You can't get that out until Ethereum 2.0 launches as well. That's the other thing. So, I think we've got a good few years ahead of me, but my personal opinion is that Ethereum is king. Not over BTC. Ethereum is king in terms of the altcoin market. I think, you got DOT, you got Cardano, you got all of these alternatives coming along, which are trying to be the next Ethereum killer. And I personally don't think there is going to be an Ethereum killer. I think these can coexist alongside it. I think some projects may start migrating to them but I think more so that these are L2 platforms regardless. I think that's how it's always going to be seen, that they're still L2 platforms, even though they're not on Ethereum, but they are layer 2 platforms.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. So all I can say is that, look, right now we're just speculating. Okay, we don't
Yeah.
really know what the future will be like because things just change so rapidly. Maybe regulations change stuff. Maybe it's actually big corporations getting in, changing stuff. Because in my opinion, there are so many platforms right now that even them competing with each other just makes them lose against, like you said, Ethereum, which has that Lindy effect. It has not only that Lindy effect, but it has the network effect. So it just, to me, is a bit of a fight between how usable Ethereum will be with high fees as price going up,
Yeah.
and how these other platforms are actually going to drive demand for the token at the same time. Because look, all these platforms, all these other platforms, even if they get actually some success, like people use them, it doesn't mean that the token is going to be useful. Like it's gonna appreciate. And the reason is that they will need to be earning fees. If, like, let's say you are Solana and you've got, like, you can handle 3,000 transactions per second. Like, if people don't actually use it in full capacity and maybe pay 10 cents per transaction, you're not making that much money. So the holders of Solana, maybe the stakers or whatever these people are, the nodes, for example, the so-called stakers, what are they going to be earning? Why would they actually want to hold Solana? Maybe for the next 5 years, 10 years, what it's going to be for? So it's just like so many variables. So all I can say is just follow the narratives, just go with the flow rather than trying to make like massive speculative bets just based on fundamentals of a coin. Because look, we've heard so many times, like, this is such a great coin, this is got like such great technology, but if nobody's using it, like, nobody cares. Like that's the moral of the story
Yeah,
here.
it is. That's exactly. That's
Yeah,
exactly what it comes down to when I was mentioning Eth is King before. Right. Well, look, BTC Macro, man. This is I think this was a great session. I hope our viewers like this as well. I hope they just find some of the candid conversation just a bit more easier to take on, rather than I see a lot of hopium being spread around, and I think sometimes it's just good just to have a conversation and just talk about the market and just generally what's happening around the market, the sort of macro events that kind of move these things in that direction. Look, let's sync up again. Sunday it is. I think Sunday seems to be our day, and let's have a happy week.
Like always, I enjoy a conversation. It's an honor to be here. So thanks a lot for having me on. I enjoy conversations, and I'll be happy to do it again next Sunday.
Definitely sounds good. And
hopefully things are gonna be good.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'm not gonna lie. I like green stuff. I like hopium. I like parabolic stuff. That's what I like. Obviously, it doesn't last for long, but if we can have it, I'm not gonna say no.
And I think for our viewers, look, BTC Macro, his insight is just, I love it in general, right? He covers a lot. He talks a lot about the macroeconomics that are fueling crypto. And if you haven't, the details are in the description below. Definitely give him a follow on Twitter. You will not be disappointed. I get a lot of my insight from various tweet sources, but our friend BTC Macro here has some really cool insights and some detailed insights in his tweets. Doesn't take long to read, but it kind of sets you up a bit for the week as well. So check it out. Definitely give him a follow, because then you might be thinking, I need more of this. I can't wait until Sunday next week. So this is what you do. You just follow BTC Macro throughout the week, and then we catch up again at the end of the week. BTC Macro, look, man, enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm gonna go and get some sleep. It's getting a bit late my time, and let's catch up next week.
Sure. Thanks a lot once again, and I'll be happy to read the comments from the viewers.
Yeah, definitely. Any comments, put it down here. We'll definitely reply back if there's any insights. And I think, I think maybe next time, in a couple of weeks, I think we should start doing live streams, get a few more people in, and maybe even look at other areas where other people are looking at in terms of charting as well. So stay tuned for our viewers. If that's what you want, then smash the like button, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one.